Good morning and welcome to my hobby bench once again. Now today I'm actually going to do something that I seldom ever do, if I've ever really done one officially, which is review a product. And the reason I'm actually doing this is because I was just perusing RC groups and happened to come across this item and I thought, wow, that's really kind of a cool thing. I want to go and get one and then share it with all of you that watch this channel, and maybe we can all benefit from this. So, what I'm going to be reviewing today is this. A new hobby mat, work mat for my table. So, with all that said, let's go straight to the table and I'll open this thing up and we'll see what the pros and cons are. And I'm going to give you my upfront and honest review of this, and let's just do it. Okay, so here I've got this silicone model mat that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. But before I open this up, I want to just briefly talk about the ones I have been using for the last few years. And obviously many of you have seen this one here that lays on the center of my table all the time, the Boca bearings work mat. This was one that was provided to me by Boca for me to use while I'm making their videos, and I ended up just leaving it here for many other videos just because I really like it. It's strong, durable, a good size. The color is not a bad color for contrast in when I'm doing videos and stuff, and I really just like this mat a lot, so that's why I keep this out here all the time and use it. What's beneath it is a type of mat that I've been using for many years, and it's a Fisker's mat. This is pretty big. It's not silicone, it's stiff material. This is one I've been purchasing for the last few years from Walmart in their sewing or craft section. It's dense, it's thin, this one's really worn and beat up, but the thing I liked the most about it when I first started using these was that it had this big grid here, and these are 1-inch squares, so when I put an engine on here you could tell the approximate size of the engine based on the grid size. These things typically run $17 to $20 something, which is kind of high in my opinion for what it is. So let's go to this new model mat. Now, like I said, this one came from Hobby Lobby, and I got the lead for this from the RC Groups thread. So I'm just going to open this thing up, and we'll take this mat out, and we'll evaluate it based on the criteria in which I'm going to be using it, which is primarily, disassembling engines and cleaning up engines and doing things like that. So let's unroll this thing. So on the back here, let me just read this. So here's the label for it in case you want to go out and get one. $9.99. I was really expecting a mat of this size and quality to be considerably more. So I was really shocked and happy when I saw that this was only $9.99, because I was afraid that I was going to be paying $25, $30 for it, in which case I may not have even purchased it. So here's what they're saying. It's a non-slip silicone surface, is flexible, easy to clean, and heat resistant. That's a good thing. Multi-size compartments to keep tools organized. Magnetic storage areas keep small metal parts in place. Includes a built-in ruler. Okay, we'll have to see about that. I'm not sure I see that right off the top of my head. Ideal for model kits, electronic repairs, DIY projects, and more. And looks like Hobby Lobby, so I don't know if made in China. So here's the mat, and based on this grid here, you can see, I believe it said that the dimensions are 18 inches by 11 3/4 inches. Good size mat. I like the mat. I like the size of the mat. Now I think this is really not designed for the RC hobby. I think it's more designed for like people doing modeling, plastic model parts, or the cast iron little figurines and stuff, perhaps. But so it looks like it's not laying flat at this moment, but that's not surprising because it's been rolled up in a bag. So I'm sure that over time this will flatten out and lay more flat. But the color is bright and bold. And color is important when it comes, for me personally, because I'm making videos. Now, do I care for the color? I don't particularly care for this color. I think something a little different, like a lighter blue or something would have been fine for me. But so one of the things I'm evaluating is how are my videos going to look if I keep using this for engine disassemblies and things like that, because more than likely I'm going to be probably zoomed in to a point like this. So you'll still see a lot of the matte, and the color isn't horrible. It's not super cool, but you know, it is what it is, and for the money it's not bad. I like the way it feels. It's silicone, it feels durable, and the color isn't, like I said, the color isn't ideal, but it does provide good contrast, which is good for videos. So let's see what else we've got here. So we've got along the edge here, we've got, I don't see a ruler yet, but all these little bitty indentations that measure, it says A1, A2, A through 42. I'm not exactly sure I understand what those are for, and I am not seeing any kind of a ruler mechanism here at all. These 3 bins are not magnetically sealed, they're just kind of a friction fit thing, which is kind of nice. I'm not certain that, you know, I would use these just because of the to close up like this. Maybe I would leave them closed, but this is more like if you're going to move this thing around, which I obviously wouldn't be moving it around. They are nice size for just holding screws and small parts, glow plugs, stuff like that. So I'm kind of looking at this from an RC engine modeler's perspective, and it looks really nice. Now here's another area here, these little inset numbers. We go 1 through 124. I have no idea what all of these little areas are for here. All I know is it's 124 little indented squares with numbers in them, raised numbers in them, that are going to accumulate oil, grit, and garbage from, you know, disassembling engines. So this part is not super nice for me because that's going to be a cleaning thing. How am I supposed to clean up all that stuff? Am I going to have to keep doing this all the time? Use Q-tips? I don't know. So I'm not sure I care for that portion. But here's a section here that says tools and supplies, and I see a magnet here, I see a magnet here. In fact, if you flip these over, you can see where the magnets are. So here's a magnet, here's a magnet, here's a magnet, and of course I can see a magnet there. Now this is for tools and such. So I've got a pick and a small precision screwdriver. So this magnet really is only covering, there's, you know, 1, 2, 3 little slots. It's really only in that these first 2. There's really no magnetic thing here, so it's only these first 2. This is kind of nice. I mean, I have my toolbox right next to me here, so not that I would probably go putting tools here because there's not a whole lot of slots for tools, and my toolbox is right here, but that's not a bad little feature. Tool supplies, I'm not sure what, I mean, maybe you put little paint brushes here. So inset areas, basically there's inset areas, a whole bunch of different size ones. Would I use all of them? Probably not. But here's some parts. So there's a magnet here, a magnet here. And where else did I see another magnet on this side? I thought there were 3. Oh yeah, here. So there's some magnets there. Are they super strong? Yeah, they seem to hold a magnet or a screw or 2. So I don't know. I mean, the magnetic thing is cool. I kind of like those. And if I have like small valve parts coming off a valve spring, retainers and stuff, I would definitely use those magnets there to keep those very, very small parts from getting lost. At least I would test that to make sure that they don't get lost there. I mean, that seems like it's holding that screw pretty good, so you know, that's a good thing. Overall, I like this. I mean, let's do a comparison here with the size of the Boca one that I always use. Am I going to stop using my Boca bearings mat? No, not at all, because this was provided to me when I began my collaboration with Boca, and one of the things that I do is this, part of the agreement is that when I'm doing bearing removal and replacements, I use this. But I have been just leaving this on my table just because I kind of fell in love with it. I liked it a lot because it has a lot of the features that this has. It has this inset with the ridge that kind of keeps parts from rolling around. It's got some measurements, and I really like these inch and millimeter conversions, fractions to inches and stuff. I've used this measurement area here quite often. Now how accurate it is, I don't know, but I really like the Boca. I like the Boca mat because it's durable, it's stood the test of time, and I like the color. But when I'm not shooting Boca videos, I'm sure that I'm probably going to be using this because I really like this. I really want it to just lay flat, and I'm sure I'm going to leave it like this. I'm sure it'll flatten out over time after being rolled up in that container or that plastic. But I mean, this is not a bad mat for the price of $10. This is a hell of a mat because it sure beats the hell out of this Fisker's non-silicone mat from Walmart that was $17 or $18. That, you know, it is double-sided and it has two colors, but, you know, I like this. There's a lot of features on this mat that really are attractive to me personally for what I'm doing here because of doing engines and having small parts. Now here it says circuit board location area, so this is obviously for people that are doing some soldering and circuit board assembly. I do those kind of things. I don't do circuit board assembly, but I have done some soldering. How heat resistant this is, I don't know. That's something that's going to be a good test because if I'm heating up parts for my engines, it would be nice to know if they had some kind of a rating or what temperature, because my heat gun can get really hot, and if I'm doing this and I'm not super careful, I might angle it down and hit this. That's why I have been making sure that I'm shooting horizontal or parallel to the table surface and not down on it so I don't melt things. But maybe this will provide some better protection, and if nothing else, maybe I can lay hot parts here without worrying about it. But those are things that will be tested in the future here to see. But overall, I think for the price of $9.99 from Hobby Lobby, this is a great value, and it looks to be a really nice mat. And I would recommend, you know, if you have $10 to spend, go to Hobby Lobby, pick one of these things up and test it for yourself, because that's exactly what I plan on doing with it.